Rhett, was she holding the doctor thing in the other picture?
Okay, is everybody ready? Here we go. Looking excellent.
Here,
Menachem.
Red call Menachem.
Menachem, where are you? There you are. All right, switch around other side. You want to show your teeth?
You gotta see your teeth.
Put your hands in your pocket.
There we go.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to see you again.
You've got the best sister, you know.
Unbelievable. I have no words to thank her. Where's your chin, Menucha? Menucha, turn your face to me a little bit, okay? Where's your chin? Now give a hug. Give each other a hug. Yeah. A little straighter.
Turn to the side a little bit. You're coming too straight on. Turn to the angle. There you go. There we go.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay, Zalmy, go between them. Go into it.
There we go. There he is. Nice. Everyone's ready?
Menachem, look at Rhett.
There we go.
Menachem, look at Rhett.
Menachem.
Call his name.
Menachem. There you go. There he is. Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna go into the hood. I'm really nervous about this getting.
Okay.
Zalmy, Mitzvah.
All right.
Going to do it right now. Look at the camera. Look at Rhett.
There we go. Big smile.
Everyone look at Rhett.
Much better.
You know, the Rhett is never flash.
Here we go.
Do you mind to move? Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Shani, Esti, Rifki, Musi, Chevi, Zeldi, and Eli. My brothers and sisters-in-law, Yitzchak, Yudi and Leah, Avremi and Chani, Shmuel, David, and Goldie, Zalmy, Levi, Aryalev, Velvo, Yisrael, Mushki Durari, and Chaim Yisrael. I also want to make a special mention of my dear cousins, Rabbi David Durari, who has come all the way from Hulan, Israel, and to his brother Mendy Durari from Atlanta. And to my wife's very close friend, Sheva Stolik from Los Angeles. As well as to all guests here, your participation in this celebration means so much to us, and for this I thank you. Tonight also marks 77 years since the safe arrival of the Lubavitcher Rebbe We also want to welcome my dear uncle, Mendy Lerman, who has surprised me tonight, came from New York. Thank you. 77 years ago, the Lubavitcher Rebbe arrived safely to the shores of New York after his narrow and dangerous escape from the Nazi-occupied Europe, which began a new era for Chabad Lubavitch in general, particularly in America. That was tonight, 77 years ago. It was early Simchas Torah morning in 1961 when the Rebbe taught the soul-stirring song of Anim Zmiris on the words from the Shabbos davening. As an introduction to the following, to the song, the Rebbe repeated the following story of the origin of this song. It was in a Polish shtetl the morning after Yom Kippur. The congregants came to shul to daven Shacharis, and there they see a Jew who has not yet returned home since Yom Kippur. He was still fasting, and as he's wrapped in his talis and his Yom Kippur garb, the kittel, he was seen here deep in meditation, as if he was in a trance of sorts. And while singing this melody of Anim Zmiris, he was going round and round the bima without noticing the people that were there and his surroundings. And then the Rebbe proceeded to teach this song for the first time to all the Hasidim that were gathered. And he sang the song over and over again until we were able to catch on and sing it ourselves. One particular chassid by the name of Reuven Dunin could not contain his curiosity, and when he had an opportunity to speak to the Rebbe, he asked the Rebbe, who was this man, where did this take place, and at what time, what era? Hasidim are speculating, he tells the Rebbe, that this individual was none other than the Rebbe himself. The Rebbe lovingly looked at Rabbi Reuven and said, no, it was not me. But I will tell you who this special man was. Here the Rebbe proceeded to tell Rabbi Reuven one of the most remarkable stories I've ever heard in my life. And friends, before I share the story, let's sing together this melody as is led by my brother-in-law, renowned cantor, Chazan Aryalev Horowitz. And here's the words in English and in Hebrew. Anim Zmires v'shirim Evan, ki elecha nafshi samri. Soothing songs and poems I weave, because my soul longs for you. Nafshi chamda b'tzel yodecha l'das kol rosedecha. My soul desires the shadow of your hand to know every one of your secrets. Said this man was a wealthy Jew who had a particular kind of charity which he adopted called Pink and Shvuyim, and made this charity his mission in life. He would bail out the poor Jewish innkeepers who were thrown into the dungeons by the cruel landlords who they called the pirates. Why? For not being able to pay the rent due for the inn and the tavern. It happened at times, it was a freezing winter, and there weren't enough travelers to support the inn. The mushka Jew, as they were called, would be torn away from his family, his children, be put into the jail, and would sometimes pass away from hunger, until somebody had enough compassion to bail him out of the prison. This pious man bailed out every single Jewish case, that is, that came before him, except for one time when the sum was just astronomical and he simply could not afford it. He had to turn down the cause. That night he could not sleep. A husband, a father of small children is going to die in prison because I don't have the cash to bring him back home. No, this will not happen. So he went ahead and he appraised his house, and the amount came in exactly the sum needed to bail out the Jew. He sold the house, his own house, and then went running to the landlord, the pirates, with the money. The landlord was overjoyed to see the money, and he says, "Come, let's go down to the dungeon, let's get the Jew out free." But when he came to the prison cell, the man had already returned his soul to his maker, and he passed away from hunger. This man was devastated. Now he had nothing. He did not save the Jew, which was a terrible thought he couldn't bear. And he didn't have his money either, because the pirates refused to give him back the money he gave him. And so, in utter sadness and devastation, he cried and cried until he fell into a deep sleep. In his dream, an angel came to him and said, "Your precious acts are seen on high, and Hashem has decided to reward you. You can choose one of two things. Either you will receive your riches back, all your money will come back, or if you wish, you have the choice to have a genuine heavenly experience, me'ein olam haba, while physically living in this world on earth." Meaning, he would get to actually experience for a short time the awesome spiritual pleasure reserved only to the souls in heaven, enjoying the special closeness to Hashem's Shekhinah. what would you choose? Well, this man chose the latter, to experience a taste of heaven on earth. That morning after Yom Kippur, the Rebbe concluded his story. This man was experiencing just that. His reward was granted. And that's when this song of Anim's Mirrors was heard. What a man, what a lofty, generous soul. Now the Rebbe turned to Rebbe Reuven and said, as great as this man was, he was not a Chabad chassid. Because had he been a chassid of Chabad, he would have chose the riches, the money. Why? Because with more money, he'd be able to bail out more Jews from prison and get them out of their misery. This would have been the ideal level of altruism expected from one that aspires to be a true chassid. This is the message of a bar mitzvah. If we take an honest and non-biased look at many of the good things we do, which on the surface are noble acts of giving, are sometimes, in truth, driven by an ulterior motive for the sake of personal gain, be it recognition, pride, and even money. True, that's human nature. A child is naturally born self-centered. Look at a baby who demands his needs, crying in the middle of the night regardless of who he's disturbing. And if you forgot what this means, just take a seat next time on the airplane next to a mother with a child. But that's the child. Continues to grow up in his childhood years, being pampered and showered with goodies from the parents. But when he becomes a bar mitzvah, the boy progresses into adulthood. And what separates the men from the boys is the hard recognition that one must work with their peers, to look out for others, to shear, and be there for others. This responsibility actually becomes a mitzvah for the first time for the child. The mitzvah of loving his fellow Jew as himself, and feeling as part of the same army of Hashem with the same mission, which makes him Arevim Zelazeh, responsible one for another. Fortunately, Zalmy does not have to look far for role models. His grandparents were and are shining examples of selfless individuals giving away from their own to others without fanfare and without receiving anything back in return. Zalmy Zayda Ebnei Itkin, Alav Shalom, a chassid of first class, and at the same time, a businessman, a business owner, an entrepreneur. He and his wife Sima would selflessly help others, so many of them, and had an open house for literally everybody. The Rebbe, at one occasion, recommended somebody to go to Reb Meir, saying that Reb Meir, knows how to do a Jew a favor. And their children, my in-laws, are exactly the same way. Zalmy's grandfather, Reb Nassim Garari, of blessed memory, a man of incredible sincerity, and he was blessed with much wealth. He would contribute consistently large sums to organizations and to many private people who would also regularly contribute a lot to the Rebbe, some of which was actually used for the Sunday dollars. But here's the most amazing thing about him. He refused that this be known and would not want to be publicly recognized for his giving. Not at any dinners, not at any publications. The Rebbe actually told on one occasion Rabbi Groner, that a contribution that came from him must be kept b'chashoy, in quiet and kept discreet, because Reb Nosson would not want this to be published or publicized. He would drive his Ford Taurus, or as he called it, the Ford Saurus, for all the trouble it gave him. And when he was asked why not a nicer car, he said, "What do I need it? This gets me around. It takes me for where I have to go." This is who he was. A real pnimi, a real sincere, genuine person. Zalmy's grandfathers, Zayda, Chaim Menachem Techtel, and Yibadu Chaim Tovim, my grandfather, his grandfather, Zaidi Lerman, both lived an idealistic life as educators. They had an impact on many with their love and gentle concern for all. Many of their students today are themselves educators and leaders around the world. And knowing Zalmy, we are sure that he will follow their example to emulate them. He has already shown that he is following in their ways. My father, Tzalaim Yer, will now read the letter that the Rebbe addressed to my bar mitzvah 25 years ago, whose words are eternal and certainly apply to my son today as well. Following that, my brother-in-law, Rabbi Yitzhak Kachtel from Nashville, Tennessee, will read the translation in English. We will then recite together the Rebbe's short chapter 117 of the Hillel, which will be read by my cousin, Rabbi David Durari from Pula, Israel. Please stand up in respect for these recitations.
Baruch Hashem, Brooklyn, New York, Shalom, Ubracha, Mane, Alayda, Al-Barik Hansen, the Gil Mitzvahs, in the Yerushalayim Hashem is Baruch. Hashem is Esser, the Mitzvahs, going to lead the Chamesh Esrei, Chul, Sakamish, Kol, Kerekei, Yesif, Asmode, Gidor, Lemudi, the Torah, Teres HaNigla, Teres HaChasidus, V'Yahadim, V'Kiyim HaMitzvahs, Hashem is Baruch, Yatzlichei, V'Yiz Chosid, V'Yoshamayim, V'Lam, V'Racha, V'Chassim, Yad Kosher, V'Lev.
By the grace of God, Brooklyn, New York. Greetings and blessings. In response to the notification about your entry into the age of mitzvah, may it be God's will that from 13, the age that one is obliged to observe the mitzvahs, you will grow up to be 15, the age for the study of Gemara, and so on and so forth, as determined by the Mishnah in Avos chapter 5. May you increase your persistent diligence in your study of the Torah, both in Nigla, the revealed plane of the Torah, and in the teachings of Hasidus, and may you perform the mitzvahs with loving attention. And may God grant you success in your efforts to become a Chassid, a God-fearing Jew, and a Torah scholar with blessings, the Rebbe's holy signature. Mazel Tov Zalmy.
Lived a sage named Reb Moshe Leib of Sasson. He had one particular custom. At times, he would arrive late to Shacharis morning prayers. The villagers decided that he certainly rose to the heaven, to the throne of glory, to absorb mystical secrets. But one pious yet skeptical fellow wished to see for himself. So he hid near the rabbi's home, and at dawn, the Rebbe left his house and hurried into the forest. The man watched as the Rebbe chopped wood and schlepped it into the poor widow's home. The curious man peered through the broken windows and watched as the Rebbe lit the hearth, and fed the crying children. The man hurried back to his friends. So, did it ever rise to the throne of glory? They asked with eager anticipation. The fellow shook his head and said these short yet profound words. I saw him go much higher than that. Yes, we can reach higher than heaven right here on planet Earth. I don't know why, but when I think about this story, it brings a tear to my eye. Maybe because it's so telling of real life, so much of which is filled with simple chores and activities for our family and others, which goes unnoticed, and we may never get recognition for them, as they are not glamorous acts that impress. Yet, they are so true, so holy, and so dear to the beneficiaries and to Hashem. Take, for instance, the mimer, which my son Zalmy is about to recite completely by heart and in the language of Yiddish. It may not impress and inspire the listeners as a powerful speech in English will. And the months of labor that he toiled over it will not be noticed. And yet, it's a matter of substance over style. And it is, in fact, the most powerful way one can connect to Hashem and to the soul of the Rebbe's that authored this teaching. We will now sing the introductory song to the mimer. Please respect Zalmy's hard work that he put into this by giving him your full attention.
Und so schaut man schon, dass so ein Mitzvah durchtreiben, jetzt mit der Tanakar gesprochen und dann mit das könnte sein, dann kann ich dann gesprochen Immer Saal, tun der Mann, tun der Mama macht so, ich habe gesagt, dass wir ewig zu stehen, maar je is gelijk waar het kunt zijn, doorgaan die afspraken met het willen en werking met het in de steden, schipper gezegd als mijn, waar het zijn gezegd. Maar steden, waarom ik bij mij bij, sprak bij hem van wel, thuis moet is, heel goed als maar heel wel in ruimte zijn, dat is leuk, dus dat ik 10 blijven wel weer middag. Alle is naar een trainer, ik wil van af Shibe, steek, dus ik zou waarde, schrijven waarde, echt van de buiten de ziel, maar we smuiten uit de smaak. Als we steken, vaak ook sprak voor hele, dat is mee, hij is naar de zaal, maar de mijden, dan ging ik van uit. Niet af en toe aan de andere, geen niet uit smak, hebben we nou maar misschien kan je al net verslaan. Zeggen we dan, goeie was de girl, dan de makkelijk zijn. Maar dan kan je gaan doen met de persoonskraam, dat is belangrijk race. Daarvoor steken, wie kan het keuze naar bij in oren laten iets naar bij. Zijn te heel even naar het barrel, dan gaat man gaan zijn. Dan gaat het begin vanuit Mitzvah, is erg geweldig weer ademen. Dus we zijn hier op handen, ze meer zijn, weer zo China, dorp in Jaga en daar met dat is de stee, en wees maar, hey, en ski maar zeggen, Shamayim, dat begint het huilen, wel liggen te mij. Dan dat waar gezond is Israël, door China, wel meer van Israël, zijn werk van de immigranten, van dat we gaan. Want ik had ook met Gila, die door het huilen, de onderkant. Dat is zoals ik zei, dit is voor mij een meer waard. Dat is het begin van het huilen hier, door en dat geeft het huilen, dat van de immigranten van Jacob, de ene was koopt uit de presser. En dan dat er gewoon best bij die andere was. Dan heb je wat er weer schappen, wat het huilen en van de immigranten, misschien een chef van die. Dat is niet gaan gezogen, dat is niet gaan gezogen, het is net de maatje en elk van uit. Het is Sharon zijn, het is bij misschien het zijn nog aan, elk van uit te zijn. Ik weet niet maar het huilen, misschien maar wij zijn, ik maak er kan het huilen. Schap, ik ga hem niet, ik doe het maar, als man ook heb ik heel goed dat je. Daar is het misschien is het maar ik niet kwijt. Nou, die met mij en ik die met mij als hij zegt van wel. Als je maar van de andere, geen is meer dat. Je steeds is er naast aan, steeds niet op de station. Maar steeds er zijn dat, ze is met een jana en ze is met jana, ze is er naast aan mensen met jana zijn dus welke waren van de geen stil. Dat is dan vaak met zo'n versie berezen. Dat is het versie, samen versie. Daar maar snel, dan gaat hij dan zijn het zeker wat je één versie is. Veel te hebben een houden van de allemaal. Door met het gasten, wat je midden is altijd begonnen gaan. In de tweede versie, dan we daar bij mee het gasten. Want daar is de duration versie, dat begint van midden. Gedeeld zijn de macht van allemaal bij. Aber het huis kan wel maar de reis vanaf gas, termen voor gaf, maar misschien het mij zijn in kanten in de chat en alles. Eigenlijk zien dat wel eens vriend zijn waar zelf op en zitten in de trap naar school is. Anders heb ik geen middag is misschien bij het erg als je meer het gaat en eigenlijk zien dat wel eens vriend zijn hebben gehad. Stress werd het gaat met de foto en we gaan ze niet gewen. Oh, ik vind maar video hoe is het bij zijn ja en und ich bin auch gesetzt, dass ich auch einmal gesucht habe, und ich glaube schon, also haben wir zusammen eine Schwierigkeit, und man kann auch lernen, die ganze Corona schwer. Und der ist ein bisschen normal, das steht, ich kann auch das darf auch viel mehr. An begin van mijn avond was dat van mijn zeggen in de aber ich habe geredet und der Indien für Marty und was ich gebaut habe, geteilt, ich bin da bei mir jetzt gerade. Van het huis einmal dat men dat niet meer gezet, waar men buiten vertaan gaat. Want dat was steeds geen uitdank, als je uiteindelijk was het heten hoe dat is het hebben, het heten. Begint dus wat gezet, werd nimschaaf van begin het gezet, werd spel gezet, slechts je begrepen te maken. Begin het meegeven, is niet misaf, waar en weer te eilen. Als je dat zeggen en daar zorgt waar en waar ik spargel en gaf maar het groen hebben dat. Maar het zeven keer steeds, slechts van de boel, we zeven. Und wir schweizen met mijn schaft en het zeven met een wel gebracht, maar het zeven aan de wel beginnen. Zeven schrijft de zeven van het wegin. Het wegin, dus ben weer, neem zich gemiddel uit. Neem zich gemiddel uit, net als het daarna beginnen te leggen, zo gemiddel is. Neem zich, niet maar gemiddel is, aber niet maar gemetten. We reizen met mijn afgehad, dus dat is van mij gemetten. Daar vaart op haar zo. Dat is schon, also immer, man muss gesprochen, die wir teuer und und durch den Terror, die Menschen mit der China, sind Meichen Mieters. Und das ist meine dann Frau, aber in der Frage haben wir gesagt. Durch die Eberschere kam zu Zwillen, Mann der Lechem, killt ihm, give Terror in Leila, und durch die Zwillen, seine Menschen gesprochen und Shabbat. The Indian, the Persian was in Atila, it's Kadesh, Matas Var. But they say that both like in the Indian for him, Lila, Kashi Jan, but the fire shots him up and up, because Dr. Kadesh and Moshe, you know, Shalom, and Bar, like the book says is, as well as it's tough. But Gizak Bar, Gizak is now. Aber der Indian French from the Atila, the shot, the Mechem Midas. Das means, yes, Mechem that. The river is cut on. The river is cut on. The river is cut on. The net geworden in the yard. The potter von Twill. While the net ungefinished blood kind of some like. Now when the bear to be machine a method or demo bear there is demo door clean up the Twill and master have a square from the outfield. Ja, und dann verstanden ich in der Indien von Zwillen, ich habe mal in einem Schach, was ich mal von hätte. Und das in China mit den Indien von der Militär. Und dafür sagt er kann das Zwillen in dem Andien legen und fehlt in die Militär in der Leiter. Und durch Zwillen tut man die Zalmy Indien von durch die Militär. Das ist auch die weil durch die Militär, dann nimmst du auch von der dafür sagt er, es kann durch Zwillen. Ja, der Schafa ist am Eifen, Schmarr von Scham's Eile. Und das Weggehen am die Leifen und Piot und die Wetter und Weile und König und Schammat.
Thank you. Go ask a waiter.
Que las mujeres primero.
Was talking about the summit. I was like, how do they all know about Zalmy's bar mitzvah? This is the real summit that is changing the world as we welcome another bacher, bar mitzvah, who's going to change the world as he continues to give us nachas. It is now my pleasure to make a very special introduction. Please enjoy your dinner. Chassid, Yerushalayim, and Lamdin is the bracha which the Rebbe gives to the bar mitzvah bacher. And there's a beautiful letter that the Rebbe wrote, Gimel Iyar Tavshin Chai, to the Shliach Beryl Baumgarten, where the Rebbe addresses why do we have this order of Chassid, Yerushalayim, and Lamdin. And the Rebbe says that the first step is a Chassid. The first step is to know that Chassidus is the yesod of everything. The second step is Chassidus has to lead to Bittul. Chassidus helps the bar mitzvah bacher develop a sense of humility which allows him to put aside his own ego and his own desires and instead connect with another Yid with true Ahavas Yisrael. And that is what Yerushalayim is all about. But finally, after the Chassidus and after the Bittul, the Ahavas Yisrael, the Yerushalayim, Jetzt can er werden a lamdin, now he can be a Talmid Chacham. So I think that that's what my dear brother-in-law and sister, Beryl and Esther, had in mind when they made the program tonight. The first thing was the Maimer. That was the Chassidus, the Yisai, the Chassid. Then we had the dancing, which was true Ahavas Yisrael and Bittul, especially if you saw the way they were throwing Zalmy around and he took it with a smile. And now that we have the Chassidus and we have the Bittul and the Ahavas Yisrael, now we are ready for the Lamdim. So ladies and gentlemen, please give your undivided attention to the Bar Mitzvah Bacher Hatamim Shneir Zalman Garari, who will come up and give his Bar Mitzvah Drasha and Zalmi. I just want to tell you not to be nervous. There was once a Bar Mitzvah boy who got up to give a speech and he said, before I begin, I want you all to know that my father has instructed me not to be witty, not to be humorous, and not to be intellectual. Just be yourself. Zalmy, we know, of course, that you are witty, humorous, and most importantly, intellectual, so just be yourself.
Good evening. Thank you for joining my Bar Mitzvah celebration. Your presence makes this occasion truly special and meaningful. Today, I stand here as a Bar Mitzvah. I'm not talking about the beautiful celebration here, but what it really means, and I'm a son of mitzvahs. What does that really mean? What changed from the day before, when I was 12, to when I turned 13? Well, I changed. At the age 13, something really awesome happens. The Kabbalah calls it Gmar Ksinas Nefesh Elokis, meaning that our godly soul transforms into an adult soul. The godly soul first becomes active at a baby boy's bris, but it's at a bar mitzvah that the godly soul reaches full maturity. So from the day I turned 13, I became a new person. I now have my complete godly soul. One of many ways this affects me practically is that now I can become part of a minyan. During the tefillah and at communal prayer and reading of the Torah and other special times, a minyan is needed. It takes 10 people to bring about such a level of holiness. Now I'm a real man and counted as such. Well, let's stop and think about it for a moment. How did we get to this magic number of 10? And why is a minyan so important for communal prayer, tefillah, and special occasions? The answer to this is described in the Talmud, Sefer Megillah, Daf Chaf Aleph. In last week's Torah portion, Asher Shlach, the Torah describes how the excitement and anticipation of the Jews about to enter the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael, changed drastically upon the return of the spies, who were sent ahead to get a peek at the Holy Land and bring a report. 10 of the 12 spies quickly changed the Jewish people's minds. They focused on a negative and pessimistic view that the Jews are weak and will not be able to conquer the land which Hashem promised them. Actually, it was only the men who were affected by this report and lost faith. The women stayed strong in their faith and weren't affected at all by the spy slander. But as for the men, they totally fell for it. They cried out against God, bringing them to the land, and predicted they'll all be killed. They totally didn't trust Hashem to take them out to the land safely. What a disappointment. Hashem expressed his pain over this extreme lack of faith of him by him saying, which means, how long will I continue to bear this wicked congregation? The commentary Rashi explains that the word Ada, congregation, is referring to 10 spies, referring to the 10 spies which reported negatively and poisoned the mind of the Jewish people against the land of Israel. This actually became the source that forever after, every time the word Ada is mentioned in the Torah, it describes a group of 10 men, just as the spies were 10. This is the source for a minyan being composed of 10 people. And the Talmud continues, the same word Ada, congregation, is also used when describing the rebellion against Moshe and Hashem, which was led by Kairach. I actually learned Pasuk Kairach this year in school, and it's this very week's Torah portion. The Pasuk says, Saru me'edas Kairach, and there too it's referring to the group of exactly 10 men. Now I'm sure you're wondering, just like when I learned this, isn't it shocking that such a special and important halacha, Jewish law, about the importance of a minyan would bring so much holiness in the world, is learned from negative events, from the 10 evil spies and Kairach being called the congregation? These people did not have faith, emunah. Their actions caused pain and suffering to the Jewish people. It's hard to understand that these negative events would be the source for something so positive and holy. There's an insight to this that really amazed me when I heard this. Picture this. At the time of the story of the spies, there were over 600,000 Jewish males in the desert. The females weren't affected by the spies, so we'll just focus on the number of those who were affected. All of those 600,000 people were at Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, just a few months before. They all saw godliness right before their eyes, but they were still all convinced that the spies report should be trusted over Hashem and the loyal leader Moshe. Wow, look at the tremendous power of 10 people. These 10 people were able to convince 600,000 people coming right out of holiness of Har Sinai that would be better not to follow Hashem instructions. Now we understand. Just like those 10 spies had so much power to affect so many in the negative, making them feel far from Hashem, so too, a holy and good act is 10 people to influence people for the good, to create a Kiddush Hashem, to sanctify Hashem's name. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe explained that Korah's followers and those 10 men tapped into a very deep level of klipa, of transcendent evil and impurity. Just like they were able to draw down such a deeply negative energy, there's a huge power for 10 people to draw down a very high level of energy. In the Tanya, the Alter Rebbe wrote a letter where he describes that he heard from his teachers that when 10 Jews congregate together, it's so powerful, even when they're not actually learning Torah right then, that even an angel will become nullified and become nothingness if people are present. Just 10 people joining together in one space at such strength. We got to see this idea in more recent times, when the Rebbe pleaded with us in a heart-wrenching talk on Chavches Nisan 1992, that all that's needed of us is just 10 Jews will demand and cry out to Hashem with utter sincerity that we need Mashiach to come now. There's no doubt, he said, that they will succeed in bringing Mashiach. What a special power to the number of 10. And now I can access that power of giving of myself to others by being part of a minyan. Until now, it was all about me. My carefree afternoons of playing basketball and biking without noticing the time. Now, my godly soul keeps a careful eye on the clock to make sure I pray mincha before dark and Ma'ariv after dark. Perhaps there's a shul that needs for a minyan. Now, it's not just what do I need, what do I want, or I feel, what I'm for, what I'm wanted for, what I'm doing here. That is a message to the Bar Mitzvah for us all. What can we do for others? What can we give to others? Thank you to our dear Rebbe for teaching us all this. And thank you to my dear aunts, uncles, cousins, and family friends for making the huge effort to be here today as become a link in the chain of Am Yisrael and our Jewish history. My family traveled from far and wide, from Israel, New York, North Miami Beach, California, Tennessee, Berlin, Coral Gables, Arizona, Illinois, Kansas, and Atlanta. And a special thank you to my dear grandparents, Daisy and Bubby Garari and Daisy and Bubby Tachtel. You're an example to me of who I want to grow up to be. I would also like to thank my caring teachers who dedicate themselves every day to bring Hashem and Yiddishkeit to me and my classmates. Thank you to my friends for being such great friends and joining me at my celebration. And thank you to my siblings, Minna, Menucha, and Hakan, who are the best brothers and sisters. Last but not least, my parents. A simple thank you is not enough. Thank you for being this beautiful celebration. I hope to continue to give you nachas in the future. And thank you to Hashem for bringing us all to this day with happiness and health. We merit the coming of Mashiach now.
Shekayach, Zalmy, V'zakeni, L'gadel, Banim, Uvnei Banim, Eiskim, B'teiro, B'mitzvahs. What a bracha for all of us to be here tonight to celebrate this very special simcha. But it's a very special blessing for the grandparents who are here. And I want to take this moment to echo what the Bar Mitzvah Bacher just said. As we turn to the grandparents who are here, and we tell them, Hazorim, B'dima, Berina, Yiktzeru, Ri'u, Gidulim, Shegidalnu. And now's a good time to wish the Zaydas and the Babes, Harichas Yamim, Shanim Tevis, and Nachas, to all the Kinder, Endeklach, and Ur Endeklach, Ad Blidai. And I'd like to take this opportunity to ask my dear father, Avi Moiri, to share Divrei Bracha to the Bar Mitzvah Bacher on behalf of the Zaydas and the Babes.
Mazel Tov. After hearing such words from the Bar Mitzvah Bacher, I got so much inspiration that I don't have to think even what to say. So Mazel Tov Zalmy, Mazel Tov, Beryl, and Esther, and the Zaydet, and Robert, and כל הקודש הזה, the fetters, and the kumen, the בר מצווה בוחר, סדר רבי, בכל הפרוטים ופרטי פרוטים, fetters, מכל הצדדים, בכל המסובים כאן. Mazel Tov. We hear from the father of the Chassan about Mitzvah. We heard about the Zaydes, Siddische Yidun, from the Dereis Achronim, was wir haben sie gekannt, Anshe Chinuch, Anshe Maise, ובעלי Chochma. I want to talk about the Zaydes from the generations before them. We know that they were all of them Chassidim Anshe Maise, not some Chassidim, Baalei Mesilas Nefesh. My Zayde, soon we'll speak about him. Rabbi Yitzchok Raskin, the Zayde from the Chassan of Bar Mitzvah, the Zayde Gelen Baalei Mesilas Nefesh, the Poel Mamesh. Some people are saying that he is from the Asoro Harugi Malchus that was in the Vite Yor Jerusalem, big Chassidim, that he was Mitzvah Nefesh B'Poel Mamesh al Yiddishkeit, Bli Pachad V'Yiro, just soldier. The Goari family does not need an introduction. The Doyle Yisayim, Chassidim, Yeduim, Iber Gemskelim Rebun, B'chol Leib V'Nefesh. I had also Zayde, the Yehuda, Landstofer, that was a Chassidic Yidu, the Poel Mamesh. During the Holocaust, he was not mevatel al kutzon shel yud. He did not shave his beard when he was the sakonas nefoshes mamish. And even almost Molei Simcha, Friday night, he was dancing. Pashat, because it's Shabbos, when he was an old man, he was dancing for 2 hours. His neighbors knew it. Molei Simcha B'Torah. Shachas Zalman, we mentioned before, and now my grandfather, which is your Zalmy great-grandfather, Rabbi Yisrael Shlomo Teichel, he was Migdolei HaPoskim from the Doyer Geyo. He was a man that he never stopped to learn Mamish, Anaguzne, until he was killed. Even when he was in the car that the Nazis took him after, they lost already. And he was squeezed like in the sardine. He told to Abocher, let's learn Mishnayos. Obviously, there were no Sforim there. But that was important to him, and he quoted Milo B'Milo until he was killed. He was a Chassidic Yid, Dur Chundur, again. He spoke about Vitu. He had such Vitu to every gobble, to every real daily Yisrael. And his Avas Yisrael was in the Shire. He felt a responsibility for leadership for everyone. In the time of the war, he went to people, to his community and other people, and he was mechazik them. In Auschwitz, when he was walking, avodas 12 hours a day. So number one, he was always singing for himself. Was it stark and the bitochen? What every free moment that he had, and when he came after 12 hours, he went around to Mechazik Chaim Yidun. So it was really a tzaddik, goan, basic, chosid, Levi Sol, everything. Listen, Zalman, I want to tell you something which is a gewaltige Hashgacha Prat, is unbelievable, and a direct bracha from my Zayde to you. A year ago, what happened here in Boca, a Yid came in Shul, Chabad. He was an older man, and Kederech, Daryl and Esther, our children, they are Anshe Chochmo, Anshe Lei. So Beryl, Shedaito Inu, Leves in Abriyos, Beryl started, Shalom Aleichem, Ayid. One bist du? So he said he's from Slovakia. Ah, Slovakia. Do you know Rabbi Teichel? So this Yid started to shake. He said, Teichel? This is Moiri Ben Abi, this is my teacher. I am, he's 97. I am alive, and I am successful because what I did for him. I say that when he was very young, he took him in his yeshiva, was a phenomenon with him. Later, when the war happened, he became one of the people that wrote the Rav Weissman, that was the tzaddik. He saved thousands of Yidden during the Holocaust, in serious nefesh. And he had a group of people around him, and he was one of them. And when he found out that Mezede is in a sakone, he was in Hungary, and he wanted to go back to Slovakia because it was a big sakone for him there. But that was impossible. So he, with the help of Rabbi Weissman, he got a uniform of a Nazi officer. He's a type of a Nishkefa Shalafan man. And he got a Cadillac with special clothes for Mercedes. And on the border, he commanded who should go. Other Nazis told him, who are you? We don't know you. But he was courageous. And it was durchgeführt. Mercedes was very emotional. And right away, when he carried him over to the other country, he followed him and he hugged him, but he told me, Rebbe, nicht true. And he gave him for a day and a half a place to hide, and then they continued. This Jew, his name is Nosson Shapiro, but during these hard times when he had to change everything, his appearance, look like a Nazi, he called himself Joe Galai. And Rabbi Weissman told him, "Lie with them nomen." Say with this name because we did grace the Zachar. Then, now, Baruch, my son-in-law, is meeting him. Shalom Aleichem. Did you hear about Rabbi Teichel? Right away, he takes out from his pocket a picture. He said, "This picture is 70 years loy zos mikisi." He is carrying him wherever he is. And he claims, he became a great severe. He lives in Manhattan, winter here. He claims that everything that he's having stands to die. So, this year became very known to the Mishpacha, and here's gegeben Zalmy a bracha. And was Hashgacha Torah is that exactly 1 year ago, 96, he met them with a picture of Mezede. This is like it's a man that lived with him. So, and he's living his life today. So, this is Hashgacha Torah that Mezede is sending you special blocks. Now, just imagine that alle Zeides von Zalmy sitzen da bei dem Tisch. Can you imagine such drilling a meeting? And remember, Zalmy, that we heard before that you are the Rebbe's apostle. From das is the erste Satz. The Rebbe is with you, and now you are starting the years that Levi Yitzchok, Meshvel, Meir Ritkin always used to say from Levi Yitzchok. When he was running, when he was a Bochel, it was a half a year in Yad Keronis life. So he knew that Levi, he was little post-it. So he always used to say that Rochim lekoimeimo, this is Pirche Kehuno, that the age from 13 until 20 is one of the best ages by a person's life. You have no digest during this year. You could learn Nigla, Siddes, on a side, and you could become a real Chassid. And a small Nikusha to the Rebbe, which is that you will do what the Rebbe wants, you will have the most Hatzlacha in yourself. Mazel tov. I just want to finish with a Mitzvah that Bell was by this Wilson Shapira 2 months ago in Manhattan, having a huge building in Eastern Cup. It's his house, and he told him, in 97, he told him, the Malach HaMoves came in Gefühlen, such Wilson Shapira, but I can't really begin.
And Sri Stalik, cousins from all sides.
Zalmy's our friend,
We like him a lot.
but he's our cousin too.
Now that's food for the thought.
When we play together,
Zalmy has great imagination
board games and cards.
and amazing Lego creations.
Zalmy, you can be crazy and funny,
Just over the top.
but if you have a good book,
We'll read non-stop.
if we sleep over your house,
We know we'll have a grand time,
talking and laughing,
partners in crime.
yogurt, noodle soup, and pizza,
Are your favorite foods by far
but we cannot forget.
the beloved nougat bars.
And now you're growing up,
Your black cat is swell.
you're becoming a bacher.
You said your mom so well.
You traveled to New York
Your first Aliyah was in 770.
with your Zadis and uncles.
Amidst great joy and levity
You are a great source of nachas
and Hasidic pride,
as you study and grow.
we see your serious side.
As a new yeshiva bacher,
You will need this survival gear.
now
Now you can have a freezing cold drink anywhere. Bye.
Apart from Rebbe, the Rebbe had a first cousin with the Rebbe's name. His name is Menachem Mendel Schneerson, and he was the Rebbe's first cousin from both sides. His father's name was Shmuel, and his father was the brother of Rav Levi. His mother's name, I think, was Miriam Gittel. His mother was the sister of Rabbi Tzachana. And in the Neshimis, there's a letter which the Rebbe writes there for his bar mitzvah. And the Rebbe writes, one of the Nekudas in that letter, why do you say Tachnun by your bar mitzvah? By your chasana you don't say Tachnun. By the bris there's no Tachnun. By Pidyon Abender Shechiyanu. Why by the bar mitzvah, which is the time when the nefesh alikis, when your spiritual soul comes in to you in a complete manner, as I said before, why is Tachnun said? Tachnun is not said when there's a Yom Tov. And the Rebbe explains that the bar mitzvah is only the beginning. The bar mitzvah is not only a celebration of what you reached, but you're opening a new beginning in life. That's what the bar mitzvah is. And a person, as we know it says in here, a person was born in order to toil, in order to do. And that's why by the bar mitzvah you say Tachnun, because it's not a time of rest, it's not a time of having less to do, but it's a time, it's a new beginning, it's a time when you need all the strength you can get. It's not a coincidence, Zalmy, that this is your bar mitzvah, because your father and your mother are exactly like this. Much of it is spoken about your Zaydis, but nobody spoke about your parents. So I want to take the opportunity in the name of my brothers and sisters to say a very big mazel tov to your dear father that we truly cherish and respect and love. He's a person that never rests. Did you ever see Rabbi Beryl Garai resting? Anybody ever see Rabbi Beryl Garai resting? Did you ever see him relaxing? Nobody ever saw you relaxing. Because you don't relax, you're always on the go. You're always doing. You're always active. Did anybody ever see Mrs. Esther Garai resting? Did any of the ladies ever see Mr. Esther Garai resting? Never. Far when she was born in Tafshmem Dalal and Dalal Shvat, she's never been resting. We are very proud of you, Esther. We love you, and we are very excited with you on this amazing, beautiful, important day. And therefore, we are very happy to be here today with you, Leah and I, and everybody, for this big simcha. I want to wish you and Rabbi Beryl a lot of Chassidish nachas, the Ikkers, the Rebbe's love nachas, the Zaytis and the Babas love nachas. We shall have send mit dem Rebbe da lamata right away. Mazel tov.
Thank you very much. Now, an uncle from the other side, we have a Bill Lipsker, a mechanic, and a shliach here in Miami Beach. We're giving a paar Werte. We're going to count to 120. That's what we're going to go to. I'd like to wish a very, very special mazel tov to my Tayyid Shvega and Beryl and Esther and Zalman. A heartily mazel tov to my Shved and Shviger and to Rabbi and Zayis Tachtel and all the Zayis and the whole family. Zalmy, in this week's Parsha, the Torah talks about how all the Nesiim put the sticks near the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and one person's stick, it grew by Yotzit, and that was the Mata Aharon, the stick of Aharon. We know that a stick represents Kabbalah Soul, but there's such a thing that Rebbe mentions many times like Geshmak of Kabbalah Soul. Especially when you have Ahavas Yisrael, you go in the ways of Aaron HaKohen, so you do what you have to do, but it blooms beautifully, Baruch Hashem, the way you're blooming, you continue to bloom. You should continue as a weiter, and it should be for an Achasor, for the ganze Yiddish Volk, bis Mashiach Tzedkenu. Mazel tov, mazel tov. What an incredible schus, Zalmy, that your Bar Mitzvah celebration is on this very special day of Chav Chesivim, Yom HaBoyer, Yom HaSugal, the day that our dear Rebbe and Rebbitzin were saved, Me'emek HaBacha, and came here, the Chetzi Kader HaTachton. We also find ourselves a few days before Gimel Tammuz, a day which is near and dear to every chassid. So Zalmy, I want you to know that your Elder Zayda and Abba Chassid and Meir Itkin had many special talents. One of his very special talents was a unique ability to transform every event and any situation into an authentic, warm Hasidic Farbrengen. So many of us recall how every simcha in the family, from a bris to a chasana, and everything in between, it was only a matter of moments until the head table became another Farbrengen tish. It didn't matter if we were sitting in a fancy bar mitzvah hall with all the